last night we had a boys' night for our student ministry, and so we had 16 young men show up, and we had a bonfire where we grilled hot dogs and had s'mores and had a Bible study and did some fishing and a lot of other activities, and we also had paintball. And as we played paintball, I made sure I played when it was younger students, because that's more my speed. I'm not good at paintball. I'm not aggressive. And yet in that round, I was the last person that was still in on my team. And I'm hiding behind a tree. And I see a middle school boy just kind of walking through the field. He didn't have his gun up, so he didn't have his hands up like he was out. He was just walking. And instead of lighting him up, I called out to him. I was like, "Hey, are you out?" And he quickly realized that our team hadn't been defeated yet, that I was still in. So he hides behind a tree, and I stay behind my tree, and we duke it out. And yet his teammate comes and shoots me, and I lose. Next round I play. Some older kids sprinkled it in there. I'm again behind a tree, my favorite place to be while playing paintball. And I've got two of my students in my sights, and one of them starts yelling that his gun is jammed. And again, instead of lighting them both up, I let them figure out what was going on with the gun, and they promptly got me out because they were quite accurate. There's actually a bruise here on my bicep, and got other bruises elsewhere from just getting hit. And as I was thinking about that today, as I was thinking about that this morning when I was spending time with the Lord, I was like, man, is that not our relationship a lot of times with temptation? When the enemy wants to tempt us to live in such a way that does not glorify God, that does not honor Jesus, we flirt with it. We flirt with the temptation. We flirt with the sin. Instead of violently destroying the sin in our lives as we are called to as believers, we kind of just dance around and like, okay, looking at this or listening to this or thinking this way, that's not that bad. And yet, what we see in Scripture is it's not a bruise on your forearm that's going to be the result of you flirting with sin. It's death. It's the destruction of relationships in our lives when we allow sin to just kind of ruminate in our lives and grow and build. And so it had me thinking of Colossians chapter 3, and this is verse 5. It says, "Put to death, therefore, what is earthly in you." And then in verse 8, it says, "But now you must put them all away." And in that passage, we get this long list from sexual immorality to covetousness and jealousy to being obscene in your language. Like, we see all of these sins that we kind of like to leave in our lives, and yet Paul, in his letter here to the church at Colossae, says you've got to put them to death. You've got to put them off. And so I want to encourage you, if you consider yourself a follower of Jesus, don't be like me. Don't flirt with the sin in your life. You've got to destroy it before it, again, drastically affects your relationships with those around you. And so hope you guys are having a great Saturday, and I'll see you next time.